Was your family pretty excited when
Oh, I'm sure they were. That it was a big thing for us, you see, in many ways. We got a little bit out of renting the land, leasing the land. I'm sure that wasn't a major consideration. We got a lot of work done on the farm. Terraces are built and trees planted, and since we were here, we were the closest farm to it. Obviously, it got done quicker than others might have been done. And big gullies were stopped and things like that. There were many of those. Old cotton farms were notorious for having lots of big gullies in those days. And so they got in and helped that. Unfortunately, along with what they brought some things that weren't all that great. And one of them was kudzu. They planted kudzu to help stop erosion. And it stops erosion all right. It stops everything else. It stops the trees, it stops the grass, it stops everything. It kills everything in its path, just about. Anyway, they brought that in. And they also planted many pine trees. But they were, among the things that they did was to bring things that were to support wildlife, to help support wildlife. One of those was Sericea lespedeza, which is a grass-like thing that grows about 30 inches tall, and it's still here. Over on the power line, where the power line easement is, it's still covered with Sericea lespedeza. It's good in the sense that it builds the soil, and you could plant it on an eroded piece of old clay, and it would grow up there, and pretty soon you'd have soil again. Well, that was good in that sense, but it spread over everything. They brought in something called tea olive, which I've learned later has been called evening olive. Autumn olive, as well as tea olive, and it is an aggressive bush. Grows about 15 feet tall. It has lots of thorns, and it puts out little pink berries each year. And the birds love those little pink berries. Well, the birds take those berries and spread them. And so there are tea olives all over this place now where they had brought those in.
What was the purpose of the tea olive?
They were for bird feed, and they were great for bird feed. The birds loved them. The only trouble is they loved them too well. They spread the things everywhere. Well, that was one of the difficulties. They also brought something called Osage orange or mock orange. And it looks like an orange tree that you'd find growing in Florida. It has shiny leaves, it's evergreen. It has blossoms in the spring that look like orange blossoms and smell like orange blossoms. It has little fruits about the size of a golf ball that are orange in color, but they're not smooth like an orange. They're fuzzy like on the outside. But the cows love them. And so what happened is the cows started getting them and planting them throughout the pasture. So when I first moved back here in 1986, the cows had spread mock orange everywhere, and I had to get a bulldozer and start rooting them out. I still haven't gotten it all out. But that was another one of the things that was not ideal about what they did in bringing things in. Oh, they're beautiful trees. They're used for ornamentals in many parts of the world. But boy, if they're in your way, you're in trouble. They have thorns 3 inches or more long, and they'll punch through a tire. You can't drive tractors near them because the things will punch into a tire. They tried to plant trees here afterwards in part of the pasture that had mock orange, and the people couldn't do it. They couldn't pull the tree planter behind their tractors because it would puncture the tires, and they spent more time repairing the tires than they did planting trees. Well, the CCC camp did lots of good. They did do, as I said, many terraces throughout the country, and they planted lots of pine trees, and they did lots of things like stopping gullies and things like that. But there were some of the things that they did that were not ideal.